Hi everyone, welcome back to a new tutorial. Today I'm going to do an alcohol ink piece. So this time I'm going to do a nice big tree in the middle with some branches going off and just some different coloured leaves. I have some new inks today that I want to try out, which I got sent, and they are called Spectrum Noir. I have quite a few different colours here, which is why I've done like a little palette here, just so I can see the colours, see how they look when they're spread out a little bit. So I've got some really nice oranges and reds down here, some pinks and purples, and then some greens and bluey type ones down here. So it's actually a perfect palette for what I want to do now. I haven't got like a nice sort of bright blue, so I'm going to add it in from Tim Holtz. So I will use, if I'm doing a blue, I'll use the Tim Holtz one, but everything else pretty much should be from this Spectrum Noir series, other than actually also white, which I've got Jacquard Pinata white if I end up using that. So probably what I'm going to start by doing is just spraying. In this spray bottle I just have some isopropyl alcohol, which is this one here, it's 99%. I'm just going to spray, I think I want this corner up here to be blue, so I'm just going to, this is the only one of Tim Holtz that I'm going to use, Sailboat Blue, so I'm just going to put a little bit of that up there, and then kind of, I'm just actually going to use my finger and just let that do its own thing up there. I wouldn't recommend really using your fingers, but hey ho, that's fine. Spray that a little bit more so it starts to move a little bit. So this one is VB1 and it's kind of like a dark green colour. So I use a little bit of that, and then I want a bit of a brighter green, maybe at the bottom. Again, I'll probably just use my finger just to spread it out. With alcohol inks you do kind of, you can sometimes get quite streaky bits, which is why you've got to work kind of fairly quickly with alcohol inks. That kind of looks fine. I mean, basically I just wanted blue up here and green down here, so it's done the job. So I will actually just use a hairdryer just to make that completely dry. And when you're using a hairdryer, just use the hairdryer quite far high up, because if you do it here quite low it will move the inks round. So if you do it high up it will just gradually dry. Now I want the tree to kind of start from the bottom and like wind its way up. With that I'm going to use a really dark colour. Well, I'm going to do a mixture of two colours. So I've got the colour IG2, which is like a grey sort of colour. It comes out quite grey. And then I'm going to use this dark Albany brown, which is TN7. I've got this like quite dark colour here. And I've got a paintbrush, so it's just a small paintbrush here. So I'm going to lay it on quite thick, and I'm just going to start to paint it. But I can kind of darken it up later if I want. Oh yeah, that's better. So I'm just going to start to create my tree. It's quite a big one. I'm going to let the roots go down here. I think what I'll do next is work on putting some colour in it before I do details. I want actually quite a lot of like orange here. I didn't really want this much blue. So what I'll do is probably just take a tiny bit of the blue out. All I do is just get a bit of isopropyl on a tissue, swiping motion. So I'm going to use CR7, which is a lovely, gorgeous, bright orange. And I'm just going to like dot that. And then I'm also going to put a little bit of the other bright colour, which is BO2. And this one's also a really nice orangey colour, slightly darker. Start to like dot this around, I guess. I don't want to get it on the branch yet, so I'm just going to work on getting it around the branch. I'm going to leave a few gaps because that was the whole point of the blue. Greeny colour. And I'm going to pop that in like places where I would like some green. Except I need to darken up this bit down here. This is just kind of imagining it's on a hill. So I have got this sunshine yellow that I was talking about before. So I am just going to like add that to bits that I think need a little bit of brightening. And what I'll do is I will put a little bit of white with it. If I just put the white in it, reacts quite nicely. So I'll just do like little drops here and there, and then just use the white to bring it out. And this is just basically creating highlights. You can do quite a few different layers. So I am just using tissue dipped in isopropyl to get that out, and that basically just needs to be yellow. Then I'll probably just use this to sort of do the strips coming out of the So what I think I'll do is leave that overnight to dry, and then I'm going to add in all the details after. So even though it looks like a mess now, I reckon we'll be able to make it look more interesting tomorrow. Okay, so it's the next day. I've kind of left it to dry a bit. What I did want to mention actually is how these inks are different from the Tim Holtz inks, is they kind of have a shiny finish. So yeah, it's quite a shiny finish compared to the Tim Holtz inks. So yeah, I think it looks quite nice. Obviously we'll see how it looks like at the end, and obviously I usually varnish my pieces anyway. But I think that's sort of how it's different from the other kind of inks. So yeah, what I wanted to do now is sort of create a bit more definition. So all I need is a cup, and I'm just going to put a little bit of isopropyl in here, and I'm just going to use it to take out sort of sections that I want to define a bit more. Define this edge a bit more, and then I want to bring out a bit of colour here, and I'm just going to do like lots of dots which will gradually like show up. Then just take away the excess. Okay, so I've kind of dotted all over. What I want to do, so I've just taken out some of the colour basically. What I want to do now is just define this tree a bit more. So use my black alcohol ink, pitch black. This one's Tim Holtz. And I'm just going to pour a bit in one of these. And then I'm going to use my brush. And this time I just want to create a really smooth edge. So I'm going to dip my paintbrush in and just start to define the edge of it a bit more. And I can use like a thinner brush as well, just to create some of the like really little branches that I want to sort of have running through the page. I think that's good enough for up there. And then down here I've got some like dark trees which take up this section here. Just going to make it into like a woody area. I'm going to leave that bottom bit for now. And it's nearly finished. The last thing I'm going to do is just highlight everything, and I know it seems like a long process, and you could probably stop at this point if you were happy with the way it looked. I'm just a little bit of a perfectionist, so I am going to highlight certain bits. So what I'm going to do is again use some of these holes here. So this is like a paintbrush where I cut the end off. So it's like a little stub, and it's good for creating these like dotted bits. I'm just going to add that to little bits that I think will highlight nicely. Okay, so my battery actually ran out, so I couldn't show you the last bit of the process, but I wanted to show you it finished. Basically all I did was I carried on with the highlighting, so highlighting different sections at the top, different sections down here, and then this bit as well down here. I just kind of mixed some alcohol isopropyl just to kind of make it look a bit more like grass, kind of mix it up a little bit. But yeah, that's the finished product. Okay, so here it is against a white background, just to show you the colours pop a bit more when it's against a white background. I did add a few bits of blue, so I took out some alcohol ink here just because I wanted it to look like the sky was coming through a bit more at the top, and then I added a few more bits for the sun here that's coming through the leaves. What I would say about the Spectrum Noir alcohol inks that I used, they're actually meant to be put into their ink markers, and obviously I haven't done that today, I've just used it from concentrate, which might be why it's got a shiny look. I haven't used the alcohol ink markers yet, so I might try that in another video, but this time I just used it from concentrate, and the only thing that I can see that is different, like I said before, is that it's kind of got a shiny finish. So you can see in the light there, which is quite nice actually, to have a glossy finish. Like I said before as well, I will varnish it, so it might dull down the glossiness a bit, but it will still probably look quite glossy. Anyway, that's the video for today. I hope you all enjoyed it, and if you're new, please hit the subscribe button, and I'll be back soon with a new tutorial. Thanks for watching!